And we're back.
We are back.
Shh, music.
Yeah, as the music was playing, you were like motioning for it to wrap up.
Yeah, even
has it worn on you?
Even I'm like, Christ.
You know, we got the short one. You could just use the short one, man.
Yeah, here, guys. Tell me if you like this one better.
You're listening to the Two Tongues Podcast. And now your hosts, Kyle and Chris.
Yeah, it's right to the point, man.
Brevity.
I think assuming the audio of that was picked up on the YouTube feed, I hope it was.
Yeah.
I think you're probably right. I should just
morph into the slower one. Every now and then when you're giving them a treat, you break out the full one.
Okay, yeah. It's like if you hear the long one, you're in for something special.
For some shit. It's like a capstone episode. Yeah, I don't know, man.
I like it.
Got any capstone episodes?
It depends on what that means.
What do you think it means?
Well, like when I was in college, I had a class that was called a capstone.
Yeah,
and it was the final class in the
capstone.
It was the associate's program, so it was my final class after my first 2 years of college, and it was supposed to be the cherry on top of that shit. It was the capstone. It was cool, man. That was the one where I went to Chicago with my religion professor, and we went to that conference. It was for like a young kid. It was super cool, man.
Yeah, sounds cool. Yeah, I don't know. That was.
So what is a capstone episode? Explain it to me. What is it supposed to mean?
I mean, it's like an episode that is like your favorite, I guess. I don't know.
Oh,
you've been doing this for a while now, so you got any that stand out to you?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I mean, like as an example, the one that I did about walking through the biblical passages that support my particular interpretation of Christianity.
Yeah.
I can't remember what that one was called now, but you remember the one where I talk about the quotes from the early church fathers and the Christian mystics, but then I go through mostly Genesis and John and tell the story about how the animating spirit in humanity is the same spirit incarnated in Jesus, and is the identical spirit that we call God, the Creator. And so the incarnation of Jesus is not a unique historical event, but a divinely common thing. It's associated with life and consciousness, and it's within all beings. So that particularly Eastern interpretation of Christianity that I can support with a very selective quote gathering and but to be fair, it was chronological. I laid it out just like it's laid out in the Bible, chronologically. But yeah, that's one of my favorites. I've listened to it, like I've listened back to it like several times.
Yeah.
I also like the Gandalf the Red episodes that I did as far as the solo ones go.
How many were there? 6 of them?
I think there might have been 7 of them, but I'm not really sure. And I kind of gave up. Like, I'll probably go finish that at some point. And for Christmas, I asked my wife for the Black Books.
Black Books.
Yeah, so Carl Jung wrote the Black Books.
That's the scary shit.
Supposedly, if I'm remembering this correctly, he condensed the Black Books into the Red Book.
Oh.
So the Red Book is like the synthesis of all of these, dreams and active imagination experiences that he did, and he wrote them down in like volumes. So the Black Books are like, thousands and thousands of pages, where the Red Book's just a couple hundred.
Yeah.
And apparently it's like unfiltered shit. It's like raw. It's like,
what does that mean?
It's like it's not. It's like when I had my mystical experience and I wrote down the craziness and just let it out, out all the craziness. That's what it's like. Gotcha. It's like, it's not polished. It's not trimmed. It's not organized. It's fucking raw, unconscious material. So I'm excited about that. I
don't know why, but when you were saying raw like that, for some reason I was interpreting it to be like violent. I don't know why. It's like, what? He's talking about like violent stuff in the Black Book?
There's definitely violent stuff.
Is there?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm trying to remember.
Is there violent stuff in the Red Book that you've gotten to?
Yeah, well, it's been a long time, so you're making me wonder. I have to go back and re-listen to those.
Yeah.
Let's see.
You listen to those?
I haven't in a long time, but I listen back to all the episodes.
Oh no, okay, I see what you're saying. You need to listen to those episodes.
I need to go back.
I thought you meant you need to listen to the Red Book or the Black Book.
Oh no,
I wasn't sure if you read it or you listened.
You have to read it. I think you have to read it. Yeah.
Sometimes stuff is so complicated that listening to it goes in one ear and right out the other. You don't like grasp any of it.
100%. There's a book over here on the shelf that nobody can see, but you can see. It's that Golden Letters Mysticism with the blue book right next to the yellow. Yeah. It's an old, like a 1950s copy of Evelyn Underhill's Mysticism. I got it on audio because I wanted to read it, and I was so busy. So I got it on audio, and I listened to it, and I don't remember a fucking thing. It's so dense.
It's all gobbledygook.
Gobbledygook.
When it's audio, it's slippery.
Yes, indeed.
Very slippery. You need I need something a little less I don't know, complicated for audio books.
Yep. I do find that I retain a much less when I listen to the audiobooks. That's not like, it wasn't the case with Harry Potter. That was a terrific audiobook. I soaked that in like a sponge.
I also listened to those like 3 times in a row, so I know I'm pretty good.
True. That's also true. Yeah.
Yeah. But I was going to say something about that. I don't know, man.
Did you know, Kyle?
I didn't.
That we are 1.5 months away from our 3-year anniversary of the Two Tongues podcast.
3 years?
3 years.
Does it seem that long to you? Or does it seem longer?
Some ways, both.
Yeah.
Like in some ways, I think about the first episode we did down here in the basement before we had an office on a fold-out table that we use when we have a buffet, when we have family over. That was the podcast desk. You remember that?
I do.
And you could hear everything.
Yeah.
The kids, the dogs. I think about that, and I think
the dryer.
Ding. I think, man, that feels like a long time ago.
Now we got this studio with cool art in it.
Yep.
Directly behind me, a globe.
Kyle's now bald.
Sweet ass globe. I am now bald.
Yep.
I got one of those head shaver things. You know what I'm saying? To make it easy.
Yeah.
Pretty sweet.
Does it work well?
Does work well.
Is it like the same kind you use for like your beard, or is it like specifically for your head?
It's specifically for your head. I don't know. I mean, it's pretty similar to what you would use for your face, like the kind that you just rub on your face.
Yeah. You pervert.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's just like that, but it's just got like a little handle on it. You just rub it all over your head.
Yep.
It does make it pretty easy.
Looking good. Looking sharp, man. I think everybody pretty much likes it better this way so far. Yeah. Everyone who said something to me about it.
That's cool. Can't ask for much more than that, you know? Don't want to be disappointing people. Yeah.
So I discovered a YouTube show. I probably mentioned it to you. It's called The Y-Files.
The Y-Files.
So maybe I haven't, because it's been like a month since we did this.
Yeah. No, I think you've mentioned the Y-Files before.
So it was just something that they recommended for me based on the shit I've been watching, which has been all over the place.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like Ancient Aliens meets. Did you ever listen to or watch Lore?
Mm-mm.
It's some of those episodes are definitely worth a listen, but Lore is a guy named Aaron Mahnke.
Aaron Mahnke.
And his voice. When I say his name, his voice comes right into my head, because when he does the podcast, he says he introduces the episode, and then he goes,
"I'm Aaron Mahnke.
I'm Aaron Mahnke, and this is Lore." And that's how every episode kind of begins, and it sticks in your head. So Lore. So the style of Lore is he talks about, it's totally a monologue show, but he talks about some crazy piece of lore, and sometimes they're like urban legends that are not that old, but other times they're ancient stories, or like he did one that was really awesome about the Pied Piper, the story of the Pied Piper, and talked about that, and it's fucking. But it's dark.
Gnarly.
It's dark, in monologue form. And then the reason I say Ancient Aliens is because
is it a podcast or is it a video?
This guy with the Y-Files is both.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
it's just like us. You can watch the YouTube show, which is better in a lot of ways, because it's got all the the pictures and the things that he's using as references. The podcast version is just obviously audio. But they're both really good. But the reason I make the Ancient Aliens connection is because he'll talk about like, Göbekli Tepe, and he'll talk about the Younger Dryas impact theory and stuff. The same kind of stuff.
Randall Carlson shit.
Oh, yeah. A lot of that same kind of stuff will come up. But I really enjoy it. Really enjoy it.
Yeah. The Y Files.
Yeah, the Y Files.
David Duchovny.
So I'll give you an example. The one I just listened to, it was about something called the Black Knight Satellite.
Is it racial? Was it racial stuff?
No, not at all. The Black Knight Satellite. Have you heard of it?
Nope.
So apparently there was, so he always tells a story and he makes it really compelling. And then at the end, he'll talk about what's verified in the story and what's not. So you kind of get the idea, like he wants to tell the story the best he can with all the fucking bells and whistles. But then at the end, he's like, okay, but some of this is bullshit kind of.
Yeah.
So he talks about how like Nikola Tesla and Marconi in the early days of, radio inventions, that they found some kind of strange repeating signals from space. And there was some people talking about the signal coming from satellite, but this was before there was such a thing as satellites.
Gotcha.
And anyway, there's some more evidence to suggest that there's some kind of recurring satellite that continues to make an appearance near enough to Earth.
Pick that shit up.
And then there was a photograph that NASA took.
Yeah.
And people were like, "Oh, that's the Black Knight satellite that people have been getting signals from." And in any case, the cool part about the story is that you find out that there is
a Black Knight satellite,
some kind of a body out there that's orbiting the Earth or something at some great distance, and they can find out somehow. I don't know. I just believe the science. I follow the science, Kyle. They say they can find out how long it's been there. I can't remember the details anymore, but it goes back to like 13,000 years ago or something. So it's like, yeah, the satellite's been there, but it's been there for a really long time. And does that make it more mysterious or less mysterious? Like, I don't know. But just shit like that. A lot of stuff about aliens, a lot of stuff about ancient civilizations, Lemuria, Atlantis.
Lemuria?
That kind of shit, yeah.
What the fuck is Lemuria?
It's just like another Atlantis story, but it's from Asia.
Oh, yeah. Asian Atlantis.
Yeah, Asian Atlantis. Mu is another one.
Atlantis.
Mu. M-U.
Mu?
Yeah. And then there's Shangri-La, of course.
Shangri-La.
Yeah.
I've heard of Shangri-La. Yeah.
Yeah, so the Y-Files. And,
Y-Files.
And the other one I know I told you about is Let's Talk Religion with some Swedish fellow.
Yeah.
He wants to sit down and talk about religion. I'm like, hey, Swedish fellow.
I'm down.
I also want to talk about religion. What do you have to say?
Does he have a heavy Swedish accent?
No, he's got a pretty decent,
He's Americanized.
Yeah.
Britishized.
You can tell something's not quite right, but
yeah.
Mostly because he doesn't brush his hair. He's got kind of an unkempt
like
beard.
Jax Teller.
Yeah. He seems to have a penchant for Arab religions. He's always talking a lot about Muslim religion and Arab philosophers and shit like that, which I wonder about. Makes me wonder.
Ibn
Arabi,
something or other. It's always Ibn something. There's an Ibn gonna be in there.
Yeah, there's gonna be an Ibn. It just means son of, right?
Yeah,
Ibn.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Same thing in like Hebrew bar.
Yeah.
Means that.
Yeah.
Bar.
Barakova.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Hey, I want to ask you about Orthodox Christianity for a second.
Do you?
Yeah.
What do you want to ask?
You said online that there are Eastern Orthodox people that have a presence online that you can't stand.
Yeah.
I'm curious why. What is it that they're up to that's rubbing you the wrong way?
Well, so it's not specific to Eastern Orthodox people. I've just been noticing it in Eastern Orthodox people more than I had in the past. But this is something that Christians, like all kinds of Christians, do, and it's if you don't follow my type of Christianity, you're probably going to hell. Things like that. It just annoys me.
So these are Orthodox people.
Well, I mean, go ahead. I'm sorry.
They're talking about like negatively towards Catholics or Protestants or whoever because they're not going to be saved, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Do they believe in being saved, Orthodox? I don't really know.
So, I mean, there's no like consensus of belief. A lot of people who go to any branch, they just kind of view things differently,
Did you think that the Orthodox weren't going to have that contingent of like elitists or?
No, I don't know that I had any kind of like expectation really. But I just hadn't noticed it as much. Maybe I'm just noticing it more.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
That doesn't change your opinion about the orthodoxy, or
no? I still think that like the theology aspect of it's very interesting.
Okay, so that brings me to the next question I have about Eastern Orthodox Christianity.
Yeah,
the fact that they're called Orthodox and that they go back to the very beginning of Christianity makes me I recognized it with David Patrick Harry. He spent a lot of time talking about Gnostic heresies. And he was rattling them off like he does in an impressive way, a display of knowledge.
Yeah,
talking about Marcionism and Manichaeism and Justinianism. I don't even know, like on and on and on, all these different heresies. So it's like the Orthodox Church goes back to that early period when Christianity was very diverse, and there was not only different like unique beliefs in different Christian groups, but all different kinds of dogma. Like some people thought you had to be Jewish to be Christian. Others said, fuck that. No, we don't have to be Jewish. Some people thought that Jesus was replaced on the cross by somebody else, that he never actually died that way. Some people believe he never resurrected. He was just a man and never resurrected. All this diversity in the early Christian church. And I always sort of thought the Catholics said, all right, at some point, they're like, all right,
we got it.
We're gonna figure out the canon,
Canonize,
and then we're going to get rid of all the people that don't fall in line with the canon. But then I'm thinking, were those Catholics or were those Orthodox? Or was there not a distinction at the time?
Yeah, there was no distinction at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then I wonder about this with all of these Christian gospels, especially gospels like the Gospel of Thomas, which has real credentials and real reasons to, consider maybe that particular version. When the church decided these gospels aren't representative of what the Christian beliefs are about, we kind of have to trust, and people kind of have, that the bishops and the people who were in the know made the right decision, and all these other books that are excluded for a reason, and that kind of thing. But you also strike me as the person who's not likely to just believe that without questioning it. And I wonder if you do, if you think that the Orthodox Church could be hiding something from you. Some legitimate gospel, some legitimate.
No, I don't think so.
No?
Nope. I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, they could. I don't think, the bishops and stuff, they're good, they're good holy men. But that doesn't mean people aren't perfect. There could be people who are corrupt in those positions, that's not an impossibility. But I believe that nothing, I mean, it's crazy to say. This is a crazy thing to say, but it's honestly how I feel. I don't think that anything that happens is outside of God's plan. So even if there were, and even if they did affect things, they affected it for the way that it's supposed to be in terms of the Bible.
Interesting. Okay, fair enough. Like, I don't really know, like, one of the things, I don't know if you remember, one of the things I said, and I might have said it more than once, is that I'd like to do like a Bible study, because I don't like going to church. I don't like singing hymns. I don't like being obligated, you know, like I have 1,000 reasons why I would just prefer not to go to church. And maybe that's a problem, but that's just, for now, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Where was I going with that?
I don't know, man. It's good for your kids though, going to church.
I think that is true. Yeah. I want to do a Bible study where we read the Gospels,
and
then we focused on what Jesus said and taught, so we could and I guess I'm saying we, but I just mean me, but didn't want to do it by myself. I wanted to do it with some other folks, so that I could figure out what it was.
A Bible study at church every Wednesday, dude. You're more than welcome to come.
Yeah.
Right now we're doing Hebrews.
Yeah.
I read the Bible.
Yeah.
We could talk about it.
Well, we should talk about it. But the purpose of the Bible study that I had in mind was specifically to focus in on what Jesus taught and said. Not the stories surrounding him, not the miracles necessarily. Like, what was Jesus teaching to his disciples? Because I don't think people know.
Oh, yeah? You don't think so?
I don't think in general Christians have any idea what Jesus taught. They know what Jesus means as a symbol, and that's all they need. Like, Jesus is the Son of the God incarnate who died for my sins.
I don't know, man. I think that excuse me. I think that when people who go to church, I mean, you if you have a pastor who's like doing a good job, that stuff's bound to sink in. I mean, I went to church and I knew a lot of that, you know.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Like, I guess I know. Like, I don't know enough.
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed, really. Like, I don't know what the parables are supposed to mean, and maybe nobody knows, but I'm sure there's a theological consensus about what it's supposed to mean.
Yeah. I mean, some of them, I don't want to say that they're obvious. Some of them are not obvious. Some of them are pretty tricky.
Yeah.
But some of them are pretty obvious, and you know, maybe there's like layers to it and things that are not as obvious as others, but you know.
So I remember asking Mejdi about this because I wanted to know what Muhammad taught.
Yeah. That
was different from what Jesus taught.
Yeah.
So I'm talking to a Muslim, and that's what I want to know. I'm like, okay, so this other prophet comes after Jesus. So, and according to the Muslims, he's the, maybe they call him the capstone. They call him the final prophet, right? And so I'm like, okay, well, what did Muhammad teach that elaborates on changes or undermines or you know, Jesus's teachings? Like, in my mind, it's like, what purpose can a prophet serve if he's not correcting some error or bringing some new message? And if he is, what's the new message?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I had the same question about Jesus growing up. It's like, okay, if Jesus was a Jew, what did Jesus teach that wasn't already there in the Jewish law or the Jewish faith? What did he change? And I can answer that to some degree because we saw Jesus overturning the money changers' tables. We saw him preaching to the rabbis when he was a kid, you know, very critically. We saw him say things in the New Testament like the law says if you sleep with another woman while you're married, you know, that you've committed a great sin. I say, right? Then Jesus says, I say, if you even fucking think about it, if you even entertain that idea, you're just as guilty, right? You're just as guilty. Well, that's a change from the Jewish law. But then I ask myself, like, is that enough to constitute another religion? You know, these are the kind of questions I have. So that's why I wanted to read the Gospels, so I could figure out just exactly what it was that Jesus was teaching, because I don't think that it's as obvious or as advertised as what he represents, if that makes sense.
What does he represent?
What I said a little earlier. Jesus is God made flesh.
Yeah, okay.
He's the symbol of the sacrifice for our sins. That's the really high level 1,000-foot boilerplate Christian message. And so people say Jesus was the sacrifice for my sins, and that's all that matters to them. And to some degree, it's like, well, you know, it's hard to argue that's the Christian message.
Yeah, that is. I mean, that's a big part of it. I mean, I know that there are other things that Jesus says in terms of how we're supposed to act and things like that, but a big part of it is that you have to believe that he is the Son of God, and you know, in that sacrifice, that is a big part of it.
Yeah. Also, just cards out there.
Faith is huge in the Bible, man. You should read the book of Luke. It's like all about faith. I mean, not all about faith, but a huge part of it.
Yeah. I just read. I didn't just read, but I was. This is a book I read a long time ago before I did the podcast. It's called Time and Eternity by this Princeton professor named Walter Stacy. This was like in the 40s or something.
Walter Stacy.
But I had it all highlighted,
Yeah.
which is how I prepare my solo episodes. So I thought, hey man, this
Fucking
thing's ready to go.
Yeah.
Let's just go. And there's something in here about faith.
Yeah.
If I can find it, it's pretty interesting. He says,
faith.
Anyway, he's talking about oh dude, he has the most beautiful quote from Alfred North Whitehead in here, where Alfred North Whitehead is talking about God, and he just, because he's like, what is religion? And now in order to offer a definition, he just lets Alfred North Whitehead do it, and he says, religion is the vision of something which stands beyond, behind, and within the passing flux of immediate things, something which is real and yet waiting to be realized, something which is a remote possibility and yet the greatest of present facts, something which gives meaning to all that passes and yet eludes apprehension, something whose possession is the final good and yet is beyond all reach, something which is the ultimate ideal and the hopeless quest. What do you think of that?
It's definitely a good quote.
It's interesting. And then he says, these words evidently express a direct intuition of the writer. They well up from his own personal religious experience. What he says is not a faded copy of what someone else has felt or thought or seen. Here and there, amid the arid hills of human experience, are well springs and fountainheads of religious intuition. They are the original sources of all religion. So he's talking about having a mystical experience being the source of all religious experience. And when somebody like Alfred North Whitehead describes that, you can tell that he doesn't have any doubt about it. And so the way he describes it is somewhere in that same passage, but I don't want to keep reading it on and on, that faith doesn't even come into the picture when you've had the experience that he's describing, because the way he describes it is God cries out from within you. So you don't have any doubt about the existence of God or your connection to God. And so faith doesn't really have a role, right? You overcome faith because you have the proof of it. What do you think of that?
I don't really know, to be honest with you.
Well, if Luke is talking about how important it is to have faith,
yeah,
and Stacy's talking about the mystical experience or religious intuition or whatever, he calls it all kinds of shit, that if that happens, you have the proof within you so that you don't have any doubt, and so you have no need for faith or something. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't. I mean, I don't buy into not having a need for faith. I don't know. That just doesn't seem right to me.
I think faith is a bigger question than just having faith in the existence of God. I think faith is a bigger question than just that.
I guess so. I mean, it's pretty big in that one, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Well, you have to have, like, even if you believe God, you have to have faith that God represents a moral order and that it has some bearing on your behavior, right? It's like it requires further faith than just, okay, God must exist, to say that somehow means I should not kill and not rape, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So faith requires a lot more than just, convincing you that God exists.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think that there's an important aspect to faith. I think that without faith, you're relying too much on yourself, you know?
That resonates with me. Yeah.
At a certain point, you have to understand that it's out of your control.
That actually makes me see it a little differently when you say it like that. I just lost my train of thought. Really, no, but Yeah, damn it. I'm searching for it, but there's something good there.
Something good. I don't even remember what I said.
Let's talk about your Bible study. You brought that up a minute ago.
Yeah.
What's good about that? What sticks in your?
It's just good to talk about the Bible. It's good to like have an excuse to be reading it more.
Yeah.
You know,
do people ask good questions in there to get you thinking?
You know, sometimes the participation is better than others. The guy who leads it, he does a pretty good job. So, you know, at the very least, he's there to say something about it. I try to contribute.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes the rest of the group's pretty quiet.
Would you have any interest in leading it?
I have led it before.
And do you like it? Or do you like it better when he does it?
Honestly, it really started to irritate me that people didn't participate. So I was like, nah, I don't want to do this anymore.
Making you
it's like, why are you guys even coming? You know?
Yeah. Yeah, but imagine if you had like 4 guys that really gave a shit.
Yeah, they don't though.
You wouldn't need more than that. You could get a really, really good conversation going.
Yeah.
I would like to do that.
Come on down, man.
While we're talking about mystical experience, I want to tell you about some interesting things. That I want to run by you.
You want to tell me about some interesting things that you want to run by me?
I want to tell you about them, and also I want to run them by you.
Okay.
So,
all right, let's hear it.
Once I speak them into the ether, I'm going to run them by you.
Run them by me.
Okay, so I talked about my own mystical experience, and I talked about how that experience is available to people through psychedelic drugs, probably in modern times, and maybe even historically. That through that medium more than any others. I'm not saying that that's the only way, but I think it's a quick way, and you don't have to do a lot of preparation. You don't have to learn to meditate and discipline your mind. You can just do it. And so that's not entirely good, but I'm just saying that not every drug is the same, and not every person is the same. And when you have an experience like that, that is some kind of a spiritual experience for you, it always seems like there's messages that you take from it, and it's weird. It's like not something that is necessarily booming voice from the clouds. It's like something reflexive and something within you that rises to the surface, bubbles to the surface, something like that. And I had some experiences with psilocybin years ago, but nothing crazy and nothing particularly spiritual in those experiences. It was very full of love, and it was very, very, it was all kinds of reasons to endorse that kind of experience if you can do it safely. But I wouldn't say that it was anything spiritual. However, the experience with DMT was a very different type of experience, the kind of experience that makes you think, doesn't make you think, it gives you reason to believe that there's a realm of reality that's distinct and different from our day to day. There's something more to reality than we imagine, and that opens you up to it. This possibilities of what human beings have been calling spirit, in the realm of spirit. For all of human history, there's something to it, maybe. So in those experiences, there's unique visuals and things that I didn't think were the same or similar to what you would experience if you were doing house psilocybin mushrooms or something like that. I thought maybe that was more akin to what people talk about with acid, patterns in the carpet or patterns in the walls or ceilings start to move, and you get trails. If you move your hands or body too fast, maybe things pulsate and move, that kind of thing. But I had an experience. I want to tell you about the visuals components, and I want to tell you about the message. And I just want to tell you because I want to share it with somebody.
All right, let's hear it.
First thing that, so this was...
how much did you take?
It was like 2.6 grams.
Okay.
Which seems like a relatively moderate dose.
Yeah.
And maybe it was. But when I closed my eyes, I saw I don't want to say exactly the same thing, but I saw something nearly indistinguishable from the DMT experience.
Yeah.
And that was very surprising to me. I thought that DMT experience was a unique, entirely unique blast off in the stratosphere in another dimension, and you see the magic there, and it's unique to that dimension. Well, in this case, it was a completely different chemical, and the visuals were, I mean, uncannily similar. It was the geometric shapes, mostly like slithering snake-like shapes that were like twisting and into each other and around each other, and just moving and pulsating in different ways. And I could tell that they were made up of smaller and smaller and smaller things. You get this fractal effect, exactly like what you see in DMT. And the difference was it was all pink. I didn't get the bright colors, the crazy colors like you see in DMT experience. Everything was shades of pink, and everything was slow motion. So imagine the DMT experience with some kind of weird filter on that makes everything pink, and someone just hit slow mo on it. So all of the rapid transformation and changing of geometrical patterns was slow, and it was almost like rocking, almost like a ship, a ship on the sea, to and fro rocking. And because everything was pink and everything was peaceful and full of love, how that experience is, I got the distinct feeling that this rocking was a mother rocking her child, and the pink was flesh and blood, and it was just this intensely maternal experience. Nothing about it was a woman. There wasn't a form of a human. There wasn't long hair or breasts or a child or anything that would make you think of it.
It's pink.
It was pink. It was pink. Yeah. So that was something that I wanted to mention to you, is the fact that those visuals were so close to the DMT experience. I don't know what that means. Does it mean that when you're in an altered state through any chemical, it's not the chemical that causes that experience, which many people would want to say? So a different chemical compound would create a different experience. But instead, when you reach that altered state, or when you reach that, I don't know, I wouldn't call it an ego death. I didn't feel that way to me. But when you enter into that state, it's the same place somehow. Whether it's DMT or psilocybin, it's the same place. I don't know. What do you think of that?
I mean, definitely. You've never gotten the impression that they seem similar before?
No, because I never saw those visuals before from psilocybin. So the dosages would have been too low. They were just barely visual components. It was mostly the visual acuity. And
is that the biggest dose of mushrooms you've ever taken?
Listen, I don't know, but I can tell you that not every dried mushroom is made equal.
True.
I think these were
particularly potent.
Yeah, I think so.
Potent potables.
Yeah.
You had some potent potables with you that night. Yeah, I don't know, man. I've definitely, I've done mushrooms. That's what I did first. Then I did acid. Then I did some DMT. And there's definitely a similarity between all three of those once you go past a certain threshold.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
That's interesting. It's interesting that the experience would be so similar and the substances that cause the experience so different. It's like, how can you relate, how can you attribute the experience you had to the chemical if you get the same experience from different chemicals? You know what I mean? It's like there's some other explanation for that.
I guess it just, what am I trying to say? They might be different chemicals, but yeah, I would like to know the chemical structure of them. Are they similar chemicals?
Are they tryptamines or something?
Yeah,
maybe.
All very similar chemicals. That would be interesting to know.
Another thing that I saw visually was in the light coming down from the light, hieroglyph.
Oh yeah,
something they talk about in DMT.
Yeah,
And I kind of know what they mean, but this I think might be more of what people mean when they say that. So the light coming down from the light fixture, sometimes if you're like squinting a certain way or whatever, the light almost looks like a two-dimensional sheet coming down, like rays coming down. This is what it looked like, like a solid wall of just like a waterfall of light, and in that was what looked like Mayan hieroglyphs. It wasn't like Egyptian hieroglyphs. It was like the kind of like faces. It's almost like if you look at the Mayan hieroglyphs, you'll see that many of the characters look like faces of animals, kind of like jaguars and shit like that. And they were up and down in rows, and they were like the letters, the symbols themselves were like see-through or partially see-through, and the light was not. The light was bright, and the symbols were not. Almost like you could see through the symbols, like there were holes in the light. It was very, very strange.
That is weird.
What do you make of that?
What do I make of it?
Yeah, what do you think?
Trippy, bro,
Yeah. I mean, like, there's so much interesting shit about light that shows up in religious talk. When Jesus says, "I'm the way, the truth, and the light."
Yeah.
And some of the Gnostics said, that they were those who came from the light, who were sent by the light. And of course, the light being the first thing God creates, and the speed of light being the upper limit of physics. Like, there's something super interesting about light, and that experience makes me fascinated about what that means. Like, does it mean something?
It's gonna be an episode of the Y-Files. Yeah, man.
The guy on the Y-Files, he has a little CGI fish bowl next to him, and there's a CGI goldfish in there, and a little name tag that says Hecklefish.
Hecklefish.
And while he's talking, which is very serious, and like I'm doing with you right now, the fish just talks shit. Okay. It just heckles him.
Nice.
Which is kind of annoying, but then once you get used to it, it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it actually funny?
It can be, for sure. Yeah.
That's good.
Got to give it a go and see what you think.
Oh, well, the Y-Files. W-H-I-Y?
W-H-Y, yes.
W-H-I.
All right, now to the message of this experience.
Yeah.
And this is the coolest part massage, as far as I'm concerned. It's something I still have to think about because I don't know why. Like, I imagine that when I'm in this experience, that my subconscious or my unconscious is bringing things to me that I need to know. I just imagine that something like that's going on, and I kept feeling like I kept saying to myself, "I am worshipful. I am worshipful."
What does that mean?
It means that
you're worshiping. I'll be worshiping. That's you. I'll be worshiping.
It means that I make everything about God.
Oh, yeah, you be worshiping.
And I'm like, why do I do that? Why do I make everything about God? And am I obsessed with it like a schizophrenic who continues to circle back to the same thing?
You're like Russell Crowe in a beautiful mind,
right?
You're gonna invent God or something.
So I don't know, but I just kept saying that
you're God.
What?
I'm just
Russell Crowe.
Yeah, you're gonna be Russell Crowe. That's my point.
So I kept saying I'm worshipful, and I was trying to tell myself that that's the kind of person I am. Like
I'll be worshiping.
I'll be worshiping. Well, here it is. The message was, it's not that I want to make everything about God and that I could be wrong. It's almost like that doesn't even matter whether I'm wrong. It's that I don't have a choice. Like, I am built in such a way that I'll see God in everything. I'll see mysticism in everything.
Yeah.
And the message was that is a perspective that I can contribute to the world.
Yeah.
And so that's what I should do. I shouldn't be, like, sometimes I feel like I beat on it too much, especially with my wife and people who I live with and I'm around, that I shouldn't back away from that. And that I shouldn't be concerned that, maybe I'm obsessive, or maybe that I am wrong. It can't possibly be that everything is about God. So if I consist on making everything about God, I'm wrong somewhere. And it was like, no, that's not right. It's like you were made to be worshipful. You were made to see God everywhere, and you're the light in the world that shines that way. Yeah. And everybody else is shining their own way, and that's all important. And my perspective is important, and I exist to present that or to radiate that into the world somehow. I feel like there's something else I'm missing there, but what do you think about any of that?
I'm into it, you know. I think that you should. You do be worshiping, you know what I mean? I think that you should. It's important to you, and like, I think that you should. I don't think that you should hide it under a bushel.
No, I'm gonna let it shine.
Exactly.
There was something else. There was some other component to this, like the fact that I felt like I didn't have a choice. That's a strange thing for me, because like I'm all about free will.
Yeah,
I'm all about like self-creation. I think. Go ahead.
Unless it comes to worshiping.
No, it comes to worshiping. Just get right into it.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. But just the idea that like I was born and had a certain set of experiences and a certain set of life conditions, and it made it such that I am worshipful. I see God in everything, and it's like I didn't have a choice. It was determined. And that's weird to me. It's like I resist that, but I can't, because it came through in the experience. It's like something I have to take seriously.
Yeah.
You know?
I just can't stop thinking I'll be worshiping. That's got to be the name of this episode.
I'll be worshiping. Yeah, all right. Good enough.
Oh, man. Worshipful.
Yeah. That's what I kept saying to myself. Because I was trying to understand what it meant. I'm like, you're worshipful. I am worshipful. I am worshipful. I just kept repeating that in my head. But the reason I kept repeating it was because I didn't know what it meant. I wanted to know what it meant. So I was just like, it was like a mantra. I was just meditating on that.
How did the word come into your head if you didn't know what it meant?
I know what it means, but I didn't know what it meant in the context of this revelation I was having. You know, it's like God was telling me something. My unconscious was telling me something, and I didn't fucking understand it. You know, it's like,
I wish I could have been what's the word I'm looking for? Not straight. That's sex stuff. A sober, like a sober fly on the wall, listening to you. Like, what were you saying? What was the mantra?
I am worshipful. I am worshipful.
Just over and over again.
Mean that I'm worshipful. It's like, it was like that's all I do. That's what I am. That's all I am. I'm worshipful. And I was just like locked in that loop until I could understand what the hell that was supposed to mean.
Yeah.
It's just weird how that is, man. I don't know what it is, but the idea that it's a revelation from God is a satisfactory explanation for me. And being able to see like the voice of God in my thoughts and epiphanies, like, because thoughts are not something that you have as much control over as we generally think. You know, when a thought pops in your head, it's like, where the fuck did that come from?
Yeah.
The ancient Greeks were like, it's the muse, bro. It's a goddess who does that shit. She drops little golden nuggets into your head when you're not paying attention. And that's how it feels. It's like, wait a minute. You know, it's like, I'm the person that's recognizing this message, but I'm not the person giving it. And so what do you call that?
The muse. Down, 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 down. What's that song? Never mind. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about before about things being like, not the muse specifically, but other things being spirits, you know, like why they call alcohol spirits.
Yeah.
Like it comes over you, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Dude, another weird thing about that psilocybin experience is the coming down part. Pretty pleasant, all things considered. But the coming down part, you feel something switch. You feel, maybe you don't, but you recognize it after the switch is flipped, where your like your self-consciousness. Like we just generally have a certain level of self-consciousness. Yeah, it just comes back, and you're like, oh, it's like suddenly there's these eyes looking at me again.
Yeah,
and I'm familiar with it because they're always there. But for a minute they weren't, and I got used to that. And then boom, they pop back there, and it's like I'm watching everything you're doing, and I'm criticizing you, judging you.
Interesting.
Yeah, I wish I could live without that, but
just do enough mushrooms, dude. You'll be a fucking spaced out weirdo, but you won't have those eyes anymore.
Yeah. But maybe that's what the eyes do. That's this purpose they serve then, right?
It's keeping you from being a spaced out weirdo.
Keeping you from being a weirdo, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody, I don't want to be the over psychedelic guy, you know?
Yeah, me either.
It's not good.
Me either, but I do think that experience should be a regular, recurring, I don't know how regular, but a recurring experience throughout your life once you become an adult.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
I think anytime you have like a transitionary phase of your life, that's a good time for it.
Yeah. Maybe. I think maybe some people should avoid them.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think maybe some people should avoid the marijuanas too, you know. But
I'm convinced that marijuana is it's not a forever drug, and I don't think any drug should be necessarily a forever drug.
Yeah.
But I think it has a purpose and a place and a time for using it.
Yeah.
But I think it's not sustainable forever.
I just went up to Michigan yesterday to, you know, I don't smoke a ton of weed, but I like to keep some weed around. I haven't in a long time.
Yeah.
So I was just like, you know, the closest dispensaries in Michigan are like less than 2 hours away. So I was just like, I've got the day off. I'm gonna go up to Michigan and see what that's all about. And literally, once you get over the border into Michigan, it's like all billboards for weed stores.
Really?
And there's fucking tons of them, dude.
Did you go to more than one?
Tons of them. Yeah. Well, I GPSed one, and I could see on the GPS before I left there were a bunch right there. And the one I went to when I got there was busy as hell, man.
Really?
It was a Saturday night, and there were tons of people there. So like, you go in and there's like a little lobby, and you have to check in. They have to like scan your ID and whatnot. And then there's like another door, and they only let so many people in at a time. And there was just a huge line. So I left and I went to another one that had less people at it. It was the same thing, but I got in pretty much immediately.
Oh, that's good.
And then like as soon as you walk in, this guy was like talking to me immediately, like a salesperson, you know, asking me what I wanted, giving me like menus with stuff on it. The service was very, you know, very good.
Nice.
He took my order, and then it took a little bit longer to get it prepared than I thought it would. But that's not that big of a deal. And I was amazed at how cheap it was.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So what would you say, like compared to black market costs, what would you say? Is it
way cheaper, dude?
50% or?
So how much is a half an ounce? How much, like roundabout on the black market at this point?
I would say probably like about $100 or maybe 100.
Yeah, that's what I thought too, roundabout. Because like, I mean, an eighth. That's, you know, if you have a good dealer who's your friend, it's like $40. You know, at least it used to be back when I was buying it regularly. Yeah, so I got a half an ounce and 10 pre-rolled joints, which are all 1 gram a piece, for $52.
It's pretty amazing.
And they also gave me a free eighth because it was my first time. So that was nice of them.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Now, as far as the quality is concerned, did you think it was?
It's good. It's very good.
Better, just about the same.
Probably better.
Oh,
yeah.
better. Okay.
A little bit better.
I wonder how long it's going to take before the dispensaries are up and running here now that it's
They said like 9 months, 10 months.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
We shall see. I wonder how it'll compare to Michigan, taxes wise and all that.
Yeah. I'm sure the stores are going to be pretty much, the exact same. You get a model going.
Yeah.
Tend to stick with it.
What else is new?
Starting to do stuff for my new position at my new job, so that's fun. But it's not exactly fun to talk about on here, though.
Yeah.
Just bending metal poles.
Yep.
Welding them together. Doing a bunch of other stupid shit to them.
America,
exactly.
So my two daughters, one of them has a bed that's like super, super good quality. Like it's just like, I never had a bed so nice.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it was her crib, but it converted into a toddler bed, and it converted into it converts into a full size bed, and it's like a really nice bed, man.
Yeah.
But the other one, the younger one, her bed is a piece of shit. It's a piece of shit, and it was convertible too. It was a crib originally, and anyway, by the time I got it to a full size bed, it was janky and like. Anyway, my wife decided she's just going to buy her another bed.
Upgrade.
Yeah. So she buys her a bed. It was like a deal on whatever, like Black Friday or something. So she buys this bed, and I put it together, and then I put the box spring and mattress back on it, and they're different sizes.
Oh man!
So then I'm like, oh god. So she saved fucking 20% on this bed. Now I got to buy a new box spring and a new mattress. She got a queen size, and it was a full size.
Oh, that sucks.
So that's what I was doing before you got here, was putting together a new box spring for.
That was a fuck up by the company, or how you guys ordered it?
Well, if I wasn't being recorded, I would say it was a fuck up by somebody in particular, but I'm not going to go on the record to say that. Gotcha. I would just say that, like, look, there's not a big difference between a full size and a queen size. Like if you have like a full size bed, you can use queen size sheets. You know what I mean? Like you're barely going to notice. A little saggy. But yeah, so as soon as I got the box spring on, there's like 5 inches of just, you can see right down through the slats. I'm like, Christ. So yeah, I'm just sharing that story with you.
Can you return them?
Well, the thing is, the old bed was such a piece of shit that it's broken now. For me to get it apart, like it's broken.
Yeah.
So the new bed that she bought, we're keeping it.
Oh, okay.
It's already put together. It's like, I'm not gonna take it apart and send it back at this point. So she now has a queen size bed.
It's a big ass bed for a little kid.
Sure is, man. Sure is.
That's pretty funny. What size is the other bed?
Full.
Mm-hmm. Damn.
Yep.
It's a big upgrade.
I slept on a futon for like 20 years of my life. Yeah.
You like opted to do that kind of. I think you love that fucking futon.
I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it. I don't. If I tried to sleep on a futon today, it would be a disaster. I would be wrecked.
There's like nothing.
Nothing. No. Right, dude. If I don't have the right pillow, I'll wake up and my neck will be fucked for a week. Getting old is weird.
Yeah. My neck gets hurt every now and then because I sleep on it weird, but not too often. Sometimes I just wake up and my knee fucking hurts. That sucks.
Is it always the same knee?
Pretty much, yeah. My left one.
Getting old, man.
Yeah.
You're probably losing. You should probably take what's that stuff called?
Shark marrow.
Sure.
Shark marrow is what it is.
I was thinking of
they cut up
sharks. Not cartilage. Whatever the supplement is that helps restore your cartilage.
Shark marrow.
Shark marrow. That's the one.
I think it's cartilage. I think we were thinking of the same thing. It's like shark cartilage. They get it out of sharks. See what I'm telling you?
Do they?
I think so. Yeah.
All right.
I think I heard this on Joe Rogan's podcast.
It must be true.
Yeah.
Did I tell you that we're taking a vacation to Mexico?
Mexico is how the natives say.
Yes, Mexico. So my wife's boss
gonna eat some chips and salsa.
He's sending us. So
hell yeah, why not?
I mean, somebody's gonna send you to Mexico.
You're going to Mexico.
You're going to Mexico. I told my wife that I got concerns about it because
you told me about it before.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I mean, you can still talk that.
Well, it's just that
the listeners.
I don't speak Spanish, first of all.
Espanol.
So if there's a situation.
¿Cómo se va? Just keep talking.
Quizás. Yes. The point is, I don't speak Spanish. I mean, I have a handful of words in my arsenal, but it's not going to do me any good. And I never been to Mexico.
Salsa Verde.
Salsa Verde. I've heard all kinds of scary things about the dangerous cartels and kidnappings and all kinds of things that happen if you
Cholos,
cars with hydraulics.
Yep. Pit bulls, probably.
Face tattoos, pit bulls. I heard about it, you know?
Yeah.
Very
like Fast and the Furious vibes.
Yep. What's his name? What's the guy's name in Fast and Furious?
Vin Diesel?
No, the mustache, the Mexican fellow. Hector, is that what they call him? Hector?
Hector.
Anyway, I just have concerns because it's like to me, this seems like a whole bunch of dangers that I can't evaluate because I don't know. I don't know anything about them. Like there's some dangers there, and I don't know whether they're serious dangers, whether I have to be worried about them. What do I do to protect myself and my family? And it's having my kids there that's the biggest concern. It's like, shit, man. I was talking to Aunt Linda, and I was like, if somebody would try to take my wife or my kids from me, like in a situation like we're taking, like, you know, I'm just imagine there's a gun held to my head and they say, you know, I'm taking your wife into this other room or I'm taking your kids into this other room. I cannot allow that. If that were to happen, I would have to, in my mind, make a move to take that gun and probably kill that man. And I don't have a choice in that situation because if as soon as they're out of my zone of protection and nothing I can do can protect them, then it's too far. It's gone too far, right? Like I have a duty.
I would say that if you are in a position where somebody's got a gun pointed at your head and they're telling you they're going to take your family into another room, it's like way past being out of your control. You know what I mean?
But you know what I mean? The point is, as long as that person is within a stride from me, I have a card to play, and that's bite your fucking nose off and shove my thumbs into your eyes and try to save whatever I can.
To do whatever you can, yeah. But
point is, if I go to Mexico, I'm gonna die. That's the point. You know?
Nah, dude, you're gonna be in tourist areas. You're gonna be fine. It's gonna be smooth sailing.
And there's every reason to think that's true. And I'll tell you, when I went to my honeymoon in Jamaica, that was perfectly true. The resort was perfectly safe. People with guns at in gates, and it was like, if the shit hit the fan, you felt comfortable. You felt pretty comfortable. However, getting from the airport to the resort was sketchy as fuck.
I bet
it was super, super sketchy, and it was just me and my wife. If I had little children with me, god damn it, what you know what I mean? I don't know, man. It's like if I can't evaluate the risk, then the risk is the size of a dragon. If I don't know how to deal with that risk or how to evaluate it, then it is a fucking dragon.
Well, you can't. It's not like you can carry a gun down there.
Mm-mm.
I mean, some people can. You won't be able to, though.
Nope. Mm-mm. Can you imagine? Can you imagine ending up in Mexican prison
with a gun?
With a gun, golly,
that would be ideal. You would want a gun.
I just the image in my head was Christian Bale from the Batman, The Dark Knight. Is that what it was called? The first one, where he was in that prison, that like Asian prison, and like.
Oh, wait a minute.
And he had to fight like 30 dudes. You remember that in the cafeteria?
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, I mean, I definitely understand. If you were going to like Mexico City or something like that, I would be more worried.
Yeah.
I know someone who went to Mexico City though, and it was fine.
It was fine.
Got a little sketchy at one point, but
yeah, I don't know like what part of Mexico and where we'd fly into. I guess I should probably get my facts lined up before I worry myself to death.
Yeah.
I'm a worrier though.
It keeps you alive, man,
Yeah.
But yeah, don't get yourself into that situation, Don't let yourself get into a situation where someone's got a gun pointed at you.
Yeah, that's true. Just avoid that and then everything will be fine.
Seems easy enough,
It does, yeah.
Like it sounds almost like I'm being like tongue in cheek, which I am a little bit. I'm just joking around, but I do feel like if you go to Mexico, just stay at the pool, You don't need to go anywhere else.
Yeah.
Stay in the resort at all times.
Do you get Montezuma's revenge from taking a shower, like brushing your teeth with that
think
water?
You should swallow it. I think that you should spit it out.
Yeah.
And for brushing your teeth, that's such like an involved thing. You might want to use some bottled water.
God, it's so crazy that it's necessary. Like,
yeah,
figure it out, guys. Figure it out.
That's not working out for them, dude. I was listening to some podcasts this week, and that makes me think of this podcast. They were talking about IQs all around the world, right? You know what? Like the average IQ is in like some of the sub-Saharan African states.
Boy, if it's
so I'll tell you that here
it's 100, right?
We're averaged at 100.
Yeah,
we averaged about 100.
Yeah, I mean, I think if I'm not mistaken, that 80 is like a mental retardation level.
I don't know if it's mental retardation level, but it ain't good.
So what is it there? What's the average?
45.
How? I mean, how do they measure it? There must be.
Isn't that fucking crazy? And what made me think of that is it's not great in like South America either. It's pretty low.
Pretty low. Well, I don't want to sound like a lefty here, but it makes me wonder, like if how they measure those tests is biased towards Western systems of education.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I think that it's like I think that the questions are like they're tailored to not matter to whether or not you have that kind of education or not.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, I can tell you that if we went to some places in Africa or places in South America or Central America where those people live a very different life than we do, they have skills and competencies that we can never, ever have. And maybe that doesn't show up on an IQ test, man. I don't know. But I would die in 2 days in the Amazon by myself.
No, you wouldn't. You don't think you could go camping in the Amazon?
I mean, like, naked and afraid?
Yeah, sure.
If I was naked and afraid, if I didn't have a tent and tools, I'm gonna get eaten by a caiman. I'm gonna get bitten by a spider. I'm gonna lose my foot. My toe's gonna turn black.
Dude, you're gonna build a beaver's dam. You're gonna be under there. You're gonna be like a hobbit.
Yeah, it makes me wonder. Like when Joe Rogan talks about he talks with his hunter buddies about the Sioux Scraffa when he talks about the pigs,
growing
little
tusks,
little adorable pink, pig in the farm with no hair on it, a little baby pig, and then you put it for 2 weeks in the wild, and it grows tusks and hair, and it's like aggressive. Would that happen to us? Do you think? Would we go back? If it's demanded of us, would genes just turn on, and we just get ripped and get superhuman speed? And
I don't think that would happen.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
I think maybe
it's a possibility.
Should find out, dude.
I saw a video. Stop me if I told you this. Those videos of the guy in like the Amazon, and he's like digging a house and he like digging it out of the mud, and he makes this awesome fucking house. He makes like he makes like a pool in it. He diverts water from the stream, makes a pool and a waterfall. He has candles, and it's like amazing what he does. And it's like a fast motion video. Yeah. I saw one of those. It was like in Kentucky, and some fucking hillbilly dude was building a house like that, and it was the coolest thing, man. He had nothing but a hatchet, and he found like a rock outcropping. So it wasn't a cave exactly, but a giant rock came over. It's like an overhang. And he just started cutting down logs and building like between the ledge and the ground, building walls. And he had like a door and windows, and he built a deck that kind of hangs off this hill. And he built furniture, and it was so amazing, man. It's one of the most impressive things I've ever seen. Yeah. Imagine just like being able to just build
carve a hole under the side of the earth.
But it would be awesome though. It was awesome.
Yeah. I've seen those.
The guy in Brazil, he was taking sod from the prairie and bringing it there and like putting it on so he could have a nice like carpet. It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing.
Nice little grass carpet.
Golly, man.
I don't know why, but you said Sod from the prairie, and it just made me that tickled me.
Lord Zod
From the prairie.
from the prairie.
Zod is a bad guy from Superman.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Man, it's been a long time since I've seen those movies.
Christopher Reeve. Is it Reeve or Reeves?
I think it's Reeves.
Reeves. Not anymore.
Was it?
Did you move?
Watched any movie? Well, I've watched the movies. I watched all of the Vin Diesel, the Chronicles of Riddick movies.
Yeah.
Pitch Black.
Does it hold up, Pitch Black?
Pitch Black is pretty good. It's corny. It's got some like corny dialogue parts and shit like that. Just it was like 1999.
Yeah.
After that was Chronicles of Riddick, which was not great, but not terrible either. And then there was a third one that I didn't even know about called Riddick.
I didn't know that there was a third one. I thought there was like an animated one.
Yeah, I didn't watch that. I don't watch cartoons.
I remember seeing that movie Pitch Black in the theater.
Yeah, I think I was there.
Yeah, was it at the
one right by your house?
Yeah,
the big one.
What do they call that one? I can't
remember. Was it a Regal?
I think it was a Regal. Yeah. Yeah. So for the people who are listening, some of you will know this theater because if your name is Eddie or Matt, you know it. But right at the end of my street, my neighborhood, they built this big ass beautiful movie theater. And then they tore it down within like 15 years. It's gone.
Yeah.
It's fucking, what in the hell, man? They literally tore it down. Why not just leave it,
Yeah.
It costs more money to tear it down. If you lost your ass in that investment, why tear it down?
Leave that motherfucker standing. Let whoever comes next deal with it.
Right. Exactly. I did that with my couch last time when I sold my old house and moved into this one.
Just like you guys got a couch.
There is no way I can get this couch. You know how hard it was to get it down to the basement? It stays.
It's a basement couch.
It's a bonus couch for you guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. They'll literally have to saw that couch in half to get it out of there.
Yeah.
When I took it down the steps, I busted such a giant hole in the wall just to get the clearance I needed to get it around that corner. And I had to go fix the drywall, which I did a terrible job at, by the way. That was one of my early drywall jobs. Drywall is fucking hard, dude. To get it right, it to look right, it's really not.
People are talented, man.
Those people that
drywall folks, tradesmen.
That's a skill. That's a skill. See, I can't even make a joke because I feel like I need to feel guilty about this. But I wanted to make a joke about, we were talking about skills that folks have in other parts of the world where their IQs are measured lower. And we were talking so much about Mexico. I was going to say, well, those guys can drywall their asses off, man. They can. Regardless of IQ, those guys can do some drywall work.
True.
And if you see them doing a big job, they do it fast. And I spend days trying to get drywall right, man.
Yeah.
Sanding it down, drywall dust everywhere, sweeping it up like an asshole.
Yeah.
Over and over and over. Go in my sunroom, you'll see there's still plenty of patches out there.
You were doing some drywalling?
Yeah, I've been working on it for several years.
Yeah, there's definitely people can be really good at that kind of stuff, and you can try to do it and you're like, what the fuck? How are you so good at it?
Absolutely.
No.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I do think that you could learn to be good at drywalling.
Yep.
100%.
Yep.
And there are a lot of people who they like the people with the 45 IQ. Mm-hmm. They're never going to be able to do. They probably wouldn't be able to do that. I mean, if we're being honest, like doing something like drywalling, and excuse me, let's take that out of the 45 because that's like ridiculously low.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Let's go with 70, which is something that's very common here.
Right.
Okay. You're not teaching that person. They're not going to be a bricklayer,
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, I have like a lot of respect for blue collar work, but like being a bricklayer it's less complicated than being like an engineer. You know what I mean?
But it requires precision. It requires, you know.
Yeah.
I get it.
And that person with a 70 IQ is never going to be able to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Jordan Peterson talked about that. That example, that person he was working with, where I can't remember what their IQ was, but very low. And he was trying to teach him just to fold these pieces of paper that had photos attached to them in the envelopes. And he said just the fact that some of the photos were different sizes or stapled in different places, it made it impossible for you to fold the envelope identically every time. And every time he got a new one, it was like he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
He couldn't teach this guy to put paper in an envelope. Unbelievable.
Yep. And I don't know, man. Makes you wonder about the implications.
My
because of
thoughts. The implications. My thoughts are about the nature nurture part of this. And I wonder if you put somebody from, Northern Europe, and you plop them down, a little baby, you plop them down in that community, and they're born and raised there. Would they have an IQ of 70? Would they be in, or 2 generations down or 3 generations down? It's like, at what point is there parity ever? Or and how long does it take to accomplish that? It's like, what does it mean about nature and nurture? That's what I wonder.
Well, they've done twin studies with things like that before, and it does. I mean, with the same generation, anyways, it tends to be like they maintain their IQ. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Twins raised in different environments.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So a lot of it, I think, is definitely nature. I mean, I think that there's an aspect of nurture, and I mean, it's. What am I trying to say? Like, let's say that your IQ is like 107, okay? And that's like what you test at. Like, I think that depending on if you got like nutrients and stuff, it could have, maybe it could have been a few points higher. Maybe if you did get good, it could have been a few points lower.
Yeah.
And I know that things like being exposed to certain chemicals like lead, when they used to have lead in the gasoline, the collective IQ, like, jumped up once we got rid of it.
Fluoride is another one.
Yeah,
which is a uniquely Western problem.
Yeah.
But I heard that somewhere that the ratio of fluoride in the water in a community is directly proportionate to the average IQ. And that is amazing.
It's crazy.
Like, maybe there's more to it than that, but that is an amazing fact. Why do we put fluoride in the water, man?
No good reason for it.
Every time I go get my teeth cleaned, my dentist says, "Hey, for $20, you want me to put some fluoride on your teeth?" And every other visit, I was like, "All right, you go ahead." And he takes a little paintbrush that looks like you're going to nail polish your nails, and he paints it on my teeth.
Yeah.
If doing that twice a year is all fluoride I need for strong teeth, why is it in the water? Why is it in the water, man?
It's a good question. I wonder. I mean, is there even any real good evidence that doing it that often is good for your teeth?
I don't know.
I don't know, man.
Never looked into it, Kyle.
It's a conspiracy theory. They're making the freaking frogs gay.
Speaking of conspiracy theories, you see Alex Jones is back on Twitter?
I did, yeah. I'm going to get him to follow me.
All right. I talked to my guy, the guy that we host the podcast through. He's the guy that gave us we worked with to do the logo and all that stuff. I talked to him today because I had to renew the website hosting contract, and I was asking him about like website optimization for the search engine and marketing for like social media marketing and things, like just trying to figure out if he has ideas about just expanding the reach of the podcast, trying to get it out there.
Yeah.
So he's going to put some ideas together, and I ultimately want to see what they cost, because I have no idea whether I want to or not, but it all depends on what it's going to cost.
Yeah.
So I don't know, because it's like he's like, and he told me, he's like, you can do this on your own, but if you don't have the time, and I'm like, that's exactly it, man. It's like, I don't have the time, so I don't know if it'll be worth it, but I'll let you know what the dude says.
Oh yeah, man. Interesting. I wonder what that involves.
I don't know either, man.
I'm going to be writing blogs about us.
I don't know
We're
how it
gonna
works. Famous?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Oh boy.
Gonna be on the cover of the Rolling Stone.
My neighbor bought me a Christmas present.
Yeah.
Gave it to me we went to dinner with them and another couple. They invited us out, and I opened up this present.
The neighbor who gave you this painting behind me?
Different neighbor. The neighbor that has kids, young kids down the way.
Gotcha.
And anyway, I opened up this present, and it's a calendar. It's like a nudie calendar with all the women are elderly.
Nice.
Yeah. And they're like super straight edge and like super. I just didn't expect it from them, man. I did not expect it from them.
That's pretty funny.
Oh, so now I've got a nudie calendar with old ladies.
Are they actually naked old ladies on it?
They're like mostly naked.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like,
that's crazy.
It's weird,
man.
Yeah. And I looked through it.
I bet you did, you fucking pervert.
Listen, most of them are
old and
pretty
disgusting.
pretty gross.
Yeah.
But
There's
December,
yeah.
not bad, man. She's like, not bad. If my wife holds up that well at that age, I'll be a lucky man.
It's like Mary Steenburgen.
Mary Steenburgen, yes.
I like Mary Steenburgen.
Yeah, she held up.
Yeah, dude. Susan Sarandon.
Looks
all right for an older lady.
Sure does.
Dolly Parton. I mean, she's real fucking old.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
She's like the Crypt Keeper, dude.
You're right, yeah.
It's amazing what fake boobs will do.
Yeah, you can go too far with the plastic surgery on your face, you know.
You can't go too far with it in your titties.
Oh, you definitely can. Definitely can. But I feel like there's that uncanny valley. It's like you're
gonna say that.
You did.
I knew you were gonna say uncanny valley.
You know, it's like you can see improvement with people that have multiple plastic surgeries that you've seen. It's like you can see maybe that second surgery looks better than she did the first time. Then once you hit a certain point, it's just like right off the cliff of that uncanny valley. You're just like, Jesus Christ.
Yep. I will always remember, they used to do the Comedy Central roasts.
Mm-hmm.
They did Joan Rivers and Greg Giraldo roasted her, and he was just so funny, man. The stuff that he was saying, he was like, you got plastic surgery because you didn't want to look your age. You don't even look your species. It's good.
He died, right?
Yeah.
Giraldo? Damn. He was a roast master.
He was great, yeah. I mean, Jeff Ross kind of took over the roast master thing.
Also good at it, yeah.
Yeah, I thought Giraldo was funnier, to be honest with you.
I saw a commercial, not a commercial, like kind of a commercial, a preview on Netflix for a movie out. Guess what they're doing on Netflix?
What?
They're making another Beverly Hills Cop with Eddie Murphy and the white dude whose name I forgot, who hasn't done a movie since 1989. Is it the guy that he's partners with? The goofy, tall, gangly white dude?
Yeah, I know who you're talking. Judge Reinhold?
Maybe.
Is it him?
I have to see him.
Jude.
You know who I mean. The guy opposite him, the white cop, black cop.
White cop, bad cop.
Oh, God.
You're being racist as
Jesus.
fuck tonight, dude.
The white cop, black cop duet. You had 48 Hours with was it Mel Gibson? Mel Gibson and Danny Glover? Or is that, what am I thinking?
48 Hours is a TV show, isn't it?
No, there was a fucking movie called 48 Hours.
Was there?
A series of movies. God damn it. Come on, internet. Let's see. 48 Hours.
48 Hours is a TV show.
Yeah. Oh, it's Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte. See, that was another white cop, black cop comedy. But then there was, what was that? Just.
I've never seen that movie.
You never saw 48 Hours, dude?
No.
Come on.
I've never even heard of it.
1982?
1982? Oh, man. There
was another white cop, black cop. Anyway, it's not important.
Type that in white cop, black cop movies.
Okay.
Let's see what comes up.
We're not the first people to type this in either.
No.
Oh, boy. White cop, black cop movies. Lethal Weapon, Training Day, Cop Out, Die Hard, Rush Hour.
Lethal Weapon is what I think you were thinking.
That's the one I was thinking of. Lethal Weapon, yes.
The big one.
That was
the big one.
Danny Glover and
Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson. But then also
Matt hates
Rush Hour. That's also, I mean, it's not. That's an Asian fellow and a black fellow. But yeah.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
War.
It's a good movie, man.
Yeah. I mean,
it's funny.
If you want to watch a real good movie, watch Samurai Noon.
What is that?
I'm trying to think if that's what it was called. It was
thinking of Samurai Jack.
No. The Owen Wilson. Owen Wilson, Jackie Chan.
Shanghai Noon.
What did I say?
Samurai Noon.
God damn, racist all around.
Yeah.
Shanghai. Remember?
Nights. Shanghai Noon. Samurai
boy.
Nights. Samurai Nights does kind of make sense if you spell it with a K.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
They kind of are knights. Knigget's.
Easy now.
Knigget's.
Easy now. All right.
Know what that's from?
Mm-mm.
It's the funny movie.
Oh yeah, the funny movie.
Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Mm.
You silly English Knigget.
I don't remember that. I do remember. Bring me a strawberry.
Yeah, it's funny as hell, man. I haven't watched those movies in forever.
Yeah, I remember watching them with my cousin John growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I feel kind of out of it today. I feel kind of like spacey, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that way sometimes.
Sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I feel like I'm losing track of things that I had to say. Like there were a couple times where I was going to interject and I just can't remember what they were.
I steamrolled too much, man. You got to stop me.
I don't think that's it. I think it's just got a holy brain, you know? Not holy.
Worshipful, bro.
Yeah, worshipful, bro. I'll be worshiping.
It's the truth, man. That's what I was saying. How's your social media exploits been lately? Anything interesting?
Yeah, I've been like the followers keep building up very slowly, but it's like a noticeable upward trajectory, you know?
It's awesome, man.
I tweet shit out and it gets likes. It's just interesting, you know?
Yeah.
I think that this is the most like actually successful I've ever been on at having a page. I've had more followers before, but I get more engagement, people talk to me and like my shit more often now. Yeah. So it's just interesting, be interesting to see if I can like get a bunch of people to follow me.
Yeah, absolutely. I wish you would. Yeah. What's your Twitter handle again?
Based Fat Chad.
Based Fat Chad. Look that up, you guys.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe.
Follow me on the Twitters.
I told you. I think I told you. I did, but I'll just bring it up for the podcast. I did not the episode I did last, but the one before that. I did about Parmenides.
Yeah.
That one got some traction on.
I was listening to that one.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Like the first week, it had like significant traction. I don't know why, but it did.
Maybe it's Ross's crew, still getting that Hislop bump.
Just getting that Hislop bump. Yeah.
That fucker.
Yeah, he wants to come back on. He wants to do a Christmas episode.
We should do one more episode this year. Okay. Try to get one more in. And I think, are you still going to do keto with me starting in the beginning of the year?
Hell yeah.
All right, dude. So I think in this next episode, we should like weigh ourselves. That way we can like have progress.
All right. Fair enough.
Keep each other honest on the podcast.
Oh God. Okay. So my brother, he wants to take that seriously, weight loss seriously.
I'll get him in on it too.
Yeah. He wants to do like some, he said he wants to do the Dana White protocol. So I don't know exactly what that means, but apparently it's like some serious intermittent fasting. And he's going to start, he wants to start the fast where he doesn't eat anything solid for like 10 days.
Damn.
So he's just going to be drinking broth and water and shit like that. And he's big enough that he could do that. I'm sure he could do that. But that's a long time.
That is a long time.
I told him
10 days is a long time, especially when you are like, does he fast now?
I think he generally
eats like once a day or something.
Yeah, I think generally, yeah. But I think it's like a long grazing process at the end of the day, which is something that I've fallen victim to, and it is rough. If you eat nothing but dinner and then graze all night long, it's not it's not difficult to overeat and still be fat, and you know what I mean. It's just starving all day long, and so I think that's part of it.
Yeah. Well, that's one benefit of doing keto is as long as you're eating the right things, you can kind of you can go off, eat a bunch of food, which is nice.
Yeah, I told him I was going to do the first 3 days of his fast with him. So nothing but water for 3 days.
All right,
which I did once before when you were fasting, and it was fine. I mean, like I was surprised that after the first 2 days were the hardest. The third day it was like, no
big deal.
Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah. What do you think you weigh right now?
Probably like 215.
215?
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's pretty good, man.
Yeah. I mean, I actually been losing a little weight lately. Nice. I think it was higher than that for a while.
I probably think I'm probably up around 300 at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like 290 at my highest.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how close to that I got after COVID, but I bet I was 230 anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I'm definitely gonna hit it pretty hard the start of the year. I'm actually thinking about just doing it like maybe right after Christmas because I'm like ready to
really jump on it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing about New Year's apart from the drinking that I would like.
Yeah.
Doesn't. But I also bought a rowing machine for my wife for Christmas.
Yeah, and it'd be like House of Cards. Doesn't he do that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. But yeah, well, all those Ivy League people, like row is a thing that is a thing. But anyway, I'm going to try that because I absolutely hate doing the bike. Hate it. I'd rather do a stair machine than the bike.
Why? What is it about the bike that rubs you the wrong way?
It's like if I do the right level of intensity, I have a tremendous burn in my whatever these top muscles are on my leg, and I'll get out of breath.
They're your quads,
and I'll get out of breath. And if I run, I don't have the same issue with being out of breath. I will get out of breath,
sure,
but it's not as bad. It's like torturous on the bike for some reason.
It's weird,
but the row machine seems like it's going to be relatively easy.
It's got water in it.
I don't think so.
No, it's just mechanical. It's a machine.
Mechanical, yes. Anyway,
the
one I got, apparently, it's not fancy. It's not like bells and whistles, but the one I got apparently is like a good one. That's what the neighbor said. If he was going to buy one again, he would buy that, the one that I got.
Sweet.
So I'll let you know how it goes.
Gonna be rowing. You're gonna row to Canada. You're gonna throw a boat right off there. Row over to Canada, dude.
Just row over to Canada.
Like a fucking Viking.
Stop at Tim Hortons.
Get some Timbits.
Oh boy.
Yeah, man.
What else, buddy? Let me think here. I noticed Jim has been a bit nicer.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I kind of feel like the last time we had an exchange on Twitter and I told him that he was basically not
rubbing you the wrong way.
He wasn't talking to me in good faith.
Yeah.
He was just trying to score points on me. I think that maybe he took that to heart.
Yeah.
But maybe not. We'll see.
Yeah. How's your Twitter experience going?
I've just been so busy, man. I haven't really been able to do much.
Sorry, X experience.
Yeah. I feel like I don't leave substantial enough comments to get the engagement that I really need. Like I'll run into things that I really like or people that I generally like, and I just give them like lots of hearts and likes and stuff. But rarely do I say anything that's going to create engagement. But I think that's important. I think I need to do that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just like if I'll just post something that I think is interesting or something that I think is funny. A lot of times when I'm reading something, I'll have thoughts and I'll just tweet them.
Yeah.
Most of the time, people don't give a shit.
So, you like that Jonathan Pageau show?
Dude. Jonathan Pageau's show on the Daily Wire, it's called The End of the World. I think there's 2 or 3 episodes so far. I watched the first one, only the first one. And I was so impressed by that dude. And then you said he's picking up the banner from where Jordan Peterson dropped it.
Yeah.
And it kind of does feel that way. what he's doing that I like in this show is he's talking about. I'll give you one example. I'll try to give you one example. It's pretty hard to talk about because I don't understand it very well. But first of all, Jonathan Pageau talks about images all the time. It's like he thinks in images, and that's what's happened to me.
It's like a real life Robert Langdon.
He's like a Robert Langdon. But since I had my mystical experience in 2018, I began to think more in images, and it just gets stronger and stronger. So when he talks, I'm like right there with him. I'm like, yes, man, yes. And then he does this thing like Jordan Peterson does, where he talks about mythological motifs, and he cross references them to religious ideas and different things, psychological ideas, and it's all very interesting. And I think it makes it really compelling. But what he does that Jordan doesn't do as much is he brings it to popular culture. He brings it to things that are happening now.
Yeah.
Right. And so he was talking about
Cardi B.
He was talking about Carnival.
Oh, close.
Right. He's like, we've had these ritual celebrations all through human history where once a year people are allowed to do things they aren't generally allowed to do. They're allowed to break all these social rules. They're allowed to just get drunk and, fornicate with each other and
wear slutty outfits
and all this stuff. Dance naked around the campfire, whatever, they have one day where they can do this. And he says it's important because it symbolizes this state where we transition from one mode of being to another, that right on the edge of that, you have this chaos that is part of this transition to whatever comes next. And then he says, when you look around the world right now, you don't see people religiously practicing Carnival and remembering this important lesson. But what you do see is people living it out unconsciously. And then he's like, look around and you'll see clowns everywhere. You'll see men dressed like women, women dressed like men. You'll see, people with tattoos on their face, people, whatever. You see all around you the kind of things that's caricatured in Mardi Gras and Carnival and these rituals. It's like we're unconsciously living out this thing because we've forgotten about it. And I was just like, God damn, like that's exactly what you see.
Yeah.
And it's representative of what he says is a transition period in our culture. So like when you look around and it's Carnival, that means we're on the cusp of something new. Something's coming. What is that thing? What do you think?
AI. It's gonna be AI pornography.
Definitely that.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I think that there's a reason to think a religious revival may be coming. A conservative revival, definitely in the near term, seems to be likely. I don't know what that means, but to your point, man, it's a battle of good versus evil. I mean, the technology is going to have its good consequences and it's going to have its bad consequences. I don't think that fight is going to ever end, but it's going to be in some new format. I don't know if that means a change of government, if it means a change of political philosophy, moral philosophy. I don't know what it means.
Yeah,
but it's fucking clown world out there.
Yeah, I do think that we're on the precipice of a change. Who knows what that change is going to be, but it definitely seems like things are getting weird.
Yeah.
Weird, bro. Trippy. Don't like it. Me no likey.
Me no likey. I'm worshipful.
I'll be worshiping. You're just sitting there rubbing your head like, I'll be worshiping.
Dude, that's exactly what I was doing.
I know.
I kept wanting to, when I was sorry, I just flipped back over to this drug story. I kept wanting to like drop to my knees and put my head on the ground.
Prostrate.
Yeah, but it was like I kept thinking
prostate.
I kept feeling
prostate myself.
like I kept feeling like, I don't know if blasphemous is the right word, because that's not how Christians pray. That's how Muslims pray, right? So when I got in that position, I thought, nah,
Christians do prostrations.
Yeah, they do, but that's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's within my head. And then they say, if you talk to them, they say that Jesus taught his disciples to pray that way, and maybe that's in the Bible. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't remember that, but it could be. When he teaches his disciples how to pray, he says the Lord's Prayer.
Yeah, he does that.
It's not any physical instructions, so maybe it's a different part.
Yeah, maybe.
It's a lot of parts,
Yeah.
Back to Jonathan Pageau. I just saw him tweet out that Jordan Peterson did some stuff. So,
shit. Oh man, that'd be good.
Appreciate that.
If he hasn't read Jung, that is going to be an amazing experience.
You got to get in there, man. Maybe you can get on the show. Go talk about Jung.
David Patrick Harry was on Pageau's podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If he can do it.
Was Jonathan Pageau on David Patrick Harry's podcast?
No, vice versa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
That dude is an interesting cat.
Jonathan Pageau?
Yeah.
Yeah. He is very, I like that guy a lot.
And an Orthodox guy, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Eastern Orthodox.
Yeah, man.
Icon carver.
Yep. Whatever that means.
Carves icons. You know what the Eastern Orthodox icons are, right?
I do. But the ones I've seen have been painted, not carved.
Yeah, they have like carvings and stuff too. And he does that. He does that shit.
It's pretty amazing. I can't believe that dude hasn't read Jung. It's gonna transform his. Maybe not, but it's gonna show him. It's going to show him that so much of the religious stories and mythological stories and the significance, like the cosmic significance that Pageau recognizes in them, that's something that crosses over as much into human psychology. Like he knows that already because religion is so much psychology. I kind of feel like those disciplines are not different disciplines. Like if you take the image of the Freud with the patient on the couch talking through trauma, and you transpose that image of somebody in a what do they call the place where they do confessional? If you transpose that somebody in a confessional talking to a priest about their sins, like seriously, what's the difference? There's not a lot of difference. That's like that shepherd image. Jesus is a shepherd. Yeah. Guiding people through, the trials and sins and tribulations.
Yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Tribulations. Yeah, man.
Yes, psychotherapist is like and this is true of Freud, but not true of Jung. They're like a non-religious priest.
Yeah.
And that makes Freud kind of a freak, kind of a contradiction.
People don't really, he doesn't get the respect he used to,
That's true.
Freud, man.
I haven't really given Freud too much time.
It's all sex. It's all about sex,
I've got one.
It's gay.
I've got his on the interpretation of dreams,
yeah.
Which if you're going to read any Freud, I think that's the one you want to read. I haven't read it yet.
Yeah.
But I do want to read for the podcast. I want to read the Quran. What do you think of that?
I mean, it's a book, I
want to read it for the same reasons I told you that I want to read the Gospels, because I want to know what it says. And I don't have any agenda. I just want to read it and then talk about whatever I find interesting in it. I don't want to I don't have anything pre-planned. I just want to read it, and if something seems like worth talking
jumps
about,
out at you.
I don't care if it's controversial either. And maybe I should, but I don't.
You should read the Talmud.
I absolutely should read the Talmud.
That would be super exciting.
The Midrash, the Mishnah, all those rabbinical books.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you should read the Bible, dude.
Absolutely. I'm trying to see where we are on time. Oh, we're almost there. Yeah, I need to read the Bible more for sure.
I love reading the Bible.
I like the early parts of Genesis the best.
Yeah.
Once you start getting into the lineages, man, it just gets really taxing. There's interesting stories in there,
short
but
parts
boy,
of it.
it's like all of Exodus and
Definitely not all
Leviticus.
of Exodus. I mean,
Why
there's
they
a
need to
lot
get in?
of, there's a lot of story in Exodus too. I mean, there's lineage and what's the word I'm looking for? Genealogy are important in the Bible.
They are. They're not important to me. I think that I wonder if that relates back to some of the criticism that you've expressed of a particular type of Jewish thinking about being chosen, right?
Particular type.
Yeah, like the people that emphasize being chosen and being for that reason. Like, what's the word where they where the kings the next king is the king's son, the lineage that
Succession.
way. It was
Succession.
Hereditary. Yeah, something like that. That's the word. Something like that. So the idea that just because I'm born Jewish, that means I grandfathered into this greatest of all blessings.
Well,
I'm chosen.
And God made a covenant with them.
Don't you think that the focus on genealogy has to do with that? It has to do with the chosen genealogy?
Yeah, I think that it's to show that yeah, absolutely.
Like, I know that there's some prophecy about it. So it's like Jesus was supposed to be born in the city of David, and he's supposed to be an ancestor of Aaron and of David, right? The priest and the king, right? So there's stuff like that, but that wouldn't be important to the Jews in the same way it's important to Christians, because the Messiah hasn't come, right? So the only reason to emphasize genealogy is to emphasize being part of that chosen, that blessed.
Well, God,
race.
That's part of the covenant that God made, was that he said that it would come down through that family line. So that's the biggest part of it. It's a fulfillment of prophecy.
Yeah, I don't put too much weight on the chosen idea and the genealogy and the connections. Like, the human race is the human race. We go if you believe in the Bible, we go back to Adam, man. We all go back to Adam.
Yeah.
Think you're special? We got the same great granddaddy.
No, I think that people are different.
Yeah, people are different. Yeah. But I don't think their differences make them. I don't think their genetic differences or cultural differences make them saved or not.
Oh no. Oh, that's some Jewish bullshit.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, no, that's I mean, we talked about this before. The chosen people are the people who choose to be saved. And I mean, I do think that there's some element to, you don't get saved. It's almost like you don't decide. It's almost like, honestly, the way that it felt, I did decide, but it felt like God was like, okay, now's your time. Like, I got tapped on the shoulder. Like, you believe now, So that there's something to that.
Well, so is there a story there? Is that a particular event when you feel like you got tapped on the shoulder?
Yeah, but it's not that detailed, I don't know.
It's interesting. I don't know that I felt that way exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the mystical experience. We beat that topic to death, but sometimes I say that I had to be ready for that experience. So maybe there's something to it after all.
Yeah.
I don't think it was possible for me to have that experience anytime I wanted.
Yep.
God's time.
I'll be worshiping.
I'll be worshiping. All right. You got anything else, man?
No, not really.
All right. Well, all right, you guys. at Two Tongues Pod on Twitter, at BaseFat Chad on Twitter.
That's right.
Dingle dangle the likes and subscribes. We never ask you to do that, so go ahead and do that.
And if you listen to this podcast, say something to us. Ross reached out and said something to us once, and it turned into something beautiful.
Did indeed. Shout out to Ross.
Yes, indeed.
Ross. I keep trying to get my girls to learn how to roll their tongues, roll their R's,
Yeah.
And they're so cute because they try, but they
just can't.
They can't. But that's what I say. I'm like, come on, Ross, like Ross.
Well, you're Swiss. You get that like Southern Italian thing going.
Northern Italian thing, right?
Or I meant to say Southern European. Northern Italian. Yeah.
All right, you guys. So this is what we decided. We're gonna do a Christmas episode.
Yeah.
We're gonna use the short intro from now on, or maybe not from now on, but
on occasion.
On occasion, at least.
Yeah.
Being chosen based on your genes is bullshit. You're probably gonna hear a little bit from the Quran from Chris in the future. What else?
I don't know, man. I was doing some work for my company that I used to work for, selling Christmas trees.
Yep.
And there's this cashier there who's Arab, and she was talking to me about not eating pork. And I don't know why you were talking about the Quran. It just made me think of it. I just feel like it sucks for Jews and Muslims not to be able to eat pork. That's basically the point that I'm trying to make.
It totally does.
It's like, you guys
pork is delicious, man.
You gotta become Christians. I mean, for better reason than pork, but pork's included.
It's part of it. It's part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good selling point.
Big old fat pork chop.
Like Christianity.
Like a slow
pork
cooked,
included.
Pulled pork in a slow cooker. God damn.
Nice pork chop. Nice good grilled pork chop.
Bacon.
I
mean, it's hard to argue with bacon.
Carnitas in a Mexican place.
So we're going to leave you with carnitas in a Mexican place. And we're going to call this episode
I'll Be Worshipin.
Love you guys.
Well, there you have it.